Ready Game Roll video. Today's a special day because as of today we've been doing this thing for 3 years, and what it occurred to me that I'm really explaining about much of who we are, why we are. You know, I think the timing of when we started making videos sort of does a lot of the explaining for you. Um, but I thought it would be a good idea to put things out there, at least from my perspective. Unfortunately, Roan is once again working, so um, otherwise I would have dragged him in here and you know made more of a interactive podcasty type thing. Though I might still label this a podcast because God knows we do need more episodes of that. Anyway, yeah. Um, so Ready and Roll uh, started out basically peak lockdown, April time, 2020. Um, Mostly out of, I guess, necessity, because obviously we were at the end of uni, so we all, Roan, Sam, and I all went to the same uni, as did several other people you might see in Terra. Most of us are mates through uni. I think the only exception in Terra is Ben, who Roan knew beforehand, and dragged in. And then obviously for Starfinder, I dragged in Amber, who is a good friend of mine from secondary school. Um, so yeah, we all knew each other through uni. Just sort of hung out, played D&D a lot together. Before lockdown, we were playing D&D at least TTRPGs to some degree, two, sometimes three times a week, because we all went to Adventurers League on a Wednesday. Started off at Darksphere, and then it just sort of moved over to the place where the DM of that campaign lived, which was a different vibe, and I in some ways I preferred it, in some ways I didn't. It's nice to be able to hear yourself for one thing, because Darksphere Waterloo on a Wednesday night it could get loud. But anyway, yeah, and then also Roan ran his own campaign, and sometimes we'd also play the Fantasy Flight Star Wars TTRPG. So, like I say, sometimes 2-3 times a week in person, which was incredible, and I sort of took it for granted. Knowing now that in the last 3 years I've played one in-person session, um, and that was back in January, and that was incredible to be able to go. Oh my God, yeah, this is like nothing else. This is how it should be done. But yeah, we all met through uni, started doing things, and Sam, Roan, and I moved in together in this wonderful little place uh, back in 2019, which was cool. It was really nice, and for a while, we were having people over every week ourselves for D&D. Because we have a good sized lounge for 6-7 people to come over. Um, so it was quite cool. And then, obviously, as you know, lockdown happened. Um, And not only did that mean, you know, we had to go through the whole virtual learning thing, so we couldn't even go into uni um, because of the courses we were attending, especially for me, I think. Um, I had a lot of the plans for my last project. Everyone, at least on my course, was meant to do a final major project. I think that's the case throughout the uni we went to. But because of lockdown, that just didn't happen. Um, so that was a bit of a rough, bitter pill to swallow, realizing that this wasn't going to happen. This basically one of the main things that I'd signed up for uni for was just not going to happen. And given the amount of money that you know, the time and financial commitment for uni, it was crushing, and it still kind of is. Um, you know, but it was one of those things where I think Roan saw that I was a miserable prick, for a good chunk of March after lockdown happened, and a lot of April. And it was just one of those things where we sat down and we had a chat and thought, let's start a YouTube channel. Why not? Um, and it was fairly spontaneous in terms of going, all right, let's do this. Let's start a new channel. Let's, what do we focus on? What do we talk about? Um, and that was really cool. We sat down for a good, I think it was a good couple hours that we just sat down um, and talked about what the channel was going to be. We realized that our sort of we both love tabletop games, mostly D&D and Warhammer. So that was easy. That was fairly easy. Though we also thought, you know, we're both into video games, and Roan was starting to get interested in the idea of playing airsoft. So we thought, yeah, we might do some of that as well. And so far, we have one airsoft video. We don't know if we'll ever do that again because I personally don't think it works for the channel, and the footage Roan got, he didn't like, and he hasn't edited into anything, so that might just live on a hard drive now. Um, maybe one day, maybe one day. But anyway, yeah, we had had this idea for the channel, and we toyed around with ideas for the name of the channel. And again, if I'm remembering correctly, if especially Roan, if Roan watches this and knows any different, comments, dude, please, because I'm going off my poor memory. But yeah, we came up with the name, and most of it was to do with the mix of video games, airsoft, and tabletop games. So, you know, Ready Aim Fire in terms of the airsoft and mostly shooter video games aspect, and rolling dice tabletop games, um, war games as well to an extent, and that sort of stuck. And I'm really like that it did, because it's, to me, it's quite catchy. Um, I think it's the two R's nicely spaced between, I can't quite put it into words, but it's three short words, two of them having fairly similar sounding first syllables. So yeah, that sort of thing stuck. Roan knocked up a banner for the channel, which is awesome, and a logo for the channel, which is also awesome. Um, And from there, we just started making videos, which is, mostly how we got here today. But I think, at least for me, the 28th was kind of a good day for me to start this channel, because before I started this channel, the 28th was not a good day for me, and it still is not. Today is a day where I remember the fact that I lost a very good friend, and eyes are already starting to burn thinking about it. So it was just nice to have this thing, um, not replace the memories, but just something positive to build, especially back then in April 2020. It was two really bad things on top of each other. Um, the lockdown. Well, quite a few bad things actually. Lockdown as just a concept was not fun for anyone. Uni basically wasn't ending how any of us wanted. And like I say, uh, the 28th is a day where I lost a very good friend of mine. So today will likely never be a fun one. Just because of who they were to me, and what they did to help me. Um, you know, they were one of the people that sort of gave me the push to uni. Because I failed to get into uni the first time in 2014. I spent a couple of years just bimbling around Plymouth, trying to get a job. And then it came up that there were these access to higher education courses for people who, for whatever reason, hadn't, you know, got the qualifications they needed to get into uni the first time. And at first, I saw that and I was like, okay, that's really cool. But the only place that did it, to my knowledge, the first time I looked was in Exeter, and I was perfectly happy to move to Exeter, which is a town about 45 minutes to an hour away from Plymouth. It's a really nice place, actually, and in many ways, I'd like to live there again. Not live there, because I've never lived there, but I'm tired of London. I do not like this fucking place anymore. But yeah, she was one of those people that was like, hey, you tried once doesn't mean you're never gonna do it. And she wasn't the only wasn't the only person to do that. I had a lot of other friends who were like, hey, this is a thing. Go for it. And eventually I did. I did a lot of Princess Trust. Well, not a lot. 2 Princess Trust courses, and one of those sort of led into me going, all right, let's give this a shot. Let's, let's apply for this course. And I got onto the Access to Higher Education course, which was awesome. It did mean that between about March, April time, I had to be looking for jobs again. But that was fairly quick. Because I was able to get onto the Access course, which was wonderful. So yeah, and then the rest is history. I moved to London, got onto one of the courses I wanted, because the invitation to the film course went to my spam emails and I didn't see it. which is not great because that is kind of the course I really wanted to be on. But the TV course was also really good, um, in that it sort of made me go, okay, I want to work in this industry, but which area? And I realized that I really enjoyed the research side of things. I really enjoyed looking into different topics, which makes me think now that maybe I should have been on like a journalism course or something. More specifically journalism. But yeah, it's all a learning opportunity, and it's something that I'm now trying to rectify, um, in terms of what I do as a hobby. In terms of I I posted on Twitter. Um, this sort of moves on to what next for Ready Emerald. Now that I'm uh, an emotional fucking mess, it moves on to what's next for Ready Emerald. Because, like I say, 3 years. 3 years. I did not think this would be something I did on the regular. Um, and I'll throw my hands up and say, I think if this wasn't a channel um, that had all of Roan's details on it as well, also obviously wasn't also a lot of Roan and Sam's and Sophie's hard work. I'd have deleted it a long time ago because I do not. There are days where I'm just like, this isn't going anywhere. What am I doing with this? It's not getting me anywhere, and it's not doing anything for me. Um. So yeah, it probably wouldn't exist at this point if it was just a solo thing. Um. But thankfully, it isn't. Because that means I'm going to continue making videos, um, for the internet, and I've got things that I want to do, um, plans for videos, and going forward, as the channel grows, we'd like to stretch our wings a little bit and do even more. Because obviously, we started out. I watched the first video that we put up, and oh, it's not great. It's really not great. And yeah, it was edited by me, so it's going to be dog shit. Um, so yeah, it's very very bad. uh, I'll link that in the description if you want to watch it. Please don't watch it. I'll probably even throw a card up here if I can remember. Don't watch it. It's not great. Like, you don't see our faces much because it's filmed top down, which is good for Magic the Gathering. But most of YouTube is about the face. Most of visual media is about the people's faces. There's loads of tournament style games of Magic the Gathering on YouTube that don't show faces. But if you're watching a game that's clearly just filmed in someone's fucking lounge, and then no one really cares about the game itself. Everyone's seen the cards, and so long as you sort of narrate what you're doing, that'll help things. And as time went on, I also added images of the cards as they were played, which I think really helps. Um, but that first video was rough. I really didn't know what I was doing in terms of editing that because it was a new thing for me to edit, and I'm not very good at editing anyway. But yeah, I'd love to do more things like that, especially now that I've sort of grown a little bit as an editor. even though in that time, I no longer have access to Premiere, which is fucking great. I'm now using DaVinci. Yay. um, but yeah, I'd love to do more of that sort of Magic the Gathering stuff. I would love to do more battle reports, but they take ages to make. Even just to film, they take a while. Editing them takes a while, and it's also just it might be something that I do on my own. I might make battle reports part of the blog and just take a few photos, note down what happened, and do it that way. Just because it's something that I do want to do. But like I say, it takes so much time to film and edit these things. But yeah, those are the major things that I think you can expect from us. And like I say, we've got the blog that is being worked on now. I kind of wanted it up by today, as a hey, woohoo, third anniversary thing. But that's not happened because it's me, and I also have other important things in life to be doing, like looking for a fucking job. If I didn't have that to do, I probably would have had it done by now. But yeah, also, you know, continuing on with the pace that we've had this year. Like the video that I'm recording now, this video that you're watching, will be our 16th video to go out this year. At least if I'm remembering correctly, which is mental given that last year, throughout all of 2022, we put out 17 videos. None of them were particularly great either. But we put out 17 videos. And yeah, this year we've already almost put out that many, and we're not even halfway through the year, which is an awesome, like for me that's great, especially with the growth that we've had. We started the year at 40, 45, 46 subscribers. We're now at 53. We had 54, but someone unsubscribed, and that's perfectly fine. But that's still, that's still so many people that are watching who have said, yeah, click, that looks interesting. So yeah, if you are one of the 53 people that's subscribed, okay, technically it'll be more like 40 odd, because obviously the people that work on this channel are going to subscribe too, just to boost the numbers a little bit. So, like the 40 odd random strangers, thank you. Genuinely, like every time I see that subscriber count just go boop, I'm like, holy shit. We're not that good. No one should be subscribing to us. But people do, so thank you. And that gives me that little push on those shitty days, where I kind of want to be doing nothing. That little push to go, okay, let's get this video out there. Let's actually try and put some effort into the videos. And I'm trying to do that more and more now. I earlier this year I found Adobe Express, which is basically free Photoshop, and that it's great for thumbnails, not least because there's a preset for making YouTube thumbnails. So a lot of our videos now have not great thumbnails by any stretch of the imagination, but we have thumbnails that aren't auto-generated by YouTube, which is awesome. So yeah, that's another thing that has changed. And hopefully as time goes on, Um, we'll start to see more of that in the videos themselves, maybe. Though it entirely depends on what life drags in, because, I think part of our slow upload process over last year and a lot of the year before, I can't remember how many videos we had in 2021, but 2021 and first quarter of 2022, I had a job, so I couldn't do as much there anyway. And then um, end of March, I lost that job, so obviously that was a bad time for me. Um, so that was fun. um, so I didn't have either, much want to be doing anything, and I was also really trying to hopefully get back into work as soon as I could, which obviously hasn't happened because I'm still unemployed. But yeah, that's also a thing. Um, so yeah, I think that's all of sort of, at least from my perspective, where Ready Aim Roll has come from in terms of my background as a person and how it was created, as well as what's coming up. Because I do plan on a lot of things. The Morkborg video that went up earlier this week is doing really well. Um, the other video I've put up this week isn't, but it's Warhammer related, and I don't really care. Saying that, I will be making videos for Warhammer Fest over this weekend. Um, at the very least, I'll be doing some 40k videos because 10th edition looks fun, looks interesting. Um, and of course, I will be continuing on with reviewing RPGs and other games that are not um, Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer 40k, because there's so much more out there. And I was so glad I discovered that when I did, because it's just opened the floodgates for so many different games to play, and I'm just so hyped to be sharing them. Um, like I want to do videos on Delta Green. Um, I'm waiting on payday to get a copy of Ferratory so I can start doing the Morkborg solo sessions. I will be doing the character creation for the Morkborg solo sessions some point in the next few days, hopefully. Um, there's also the 40k RPG that I want to look at. I might drag Sam into those videos because he's mentioned wanting to run a 40k RPG session or two. And then in terms of war games, I really want to get my hands on some Malifaux stuff, because Malifaux, I played it briefly back in Plymouth with a friend, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The minis were a pain in the ass to assemble. Um, but the whole card-based system, like instead of using dice like most other games, you use a deck of cards, I think, with jokers as well. So 54 cards, and that was all you had. And so in some ways, you could sort of count cards. You could strategize and theorize what your opponent was going to do and what your opponent was capable of doing, just based on the fact of what cards they'd played. Um, like if they'd already played their ace, then you knew that they were probably not going to be doing something quite as big going forward. So yeah, there's that. And there's also TCGs that I want to look at. I want to do more in-depth stuff on Keyforge, especially with the new set coming out. There's games like Flesh and Blood, the Digimon TCG. So yeah, a lot of stuff is in the pipeline. And like I say, as you know, we go on, hopefully we'll start getting some Patreon subscribers, because we do have Patreon. It will be in the description, and that hopefully will allow us to do more. In terms of making things, we'd really love to do some goofy shit out and about. We've got two parks near to us that would be great to film some D&D related content. Yeah. So if that's something you want to see, subscribe, please do. It's free, and if you don't like what we're doing, then that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you, because I've spent a good chunk of this video talking about how kind of naff this channel is a little bit, because it's just a hobby at the moment. We've got no real incentive to do anything with it. But yeah, subscribing is a great thing to do for us. Maybe you'll discover some new games through subscribing to us. Again, Patreon, I don't mention it often. There's always the link to it in our description, but it's not something I mention all the time, because I don't like going, hey, give us money, because I'm barely paying my bills as it is. I don't want to be asking random ass fucking strangers on the internet to go, hey, give your hard-earned money. It just feels gross. But it's there. If and when people, for whatever reason, want to throw us £1 or £2, because the lowest tier is only £1. So, But yeah, thank you for watching this weird emotional ramble. Yeah, I expected to cry in this video, just because of the emotional context of how I as a person got here, and why today of all days was a rough day to start a YouTube channel. And if I'm remembering correctly, that was part of the reason why we played MTG that day. Rome was right. All right, you're not moping around. Let's play Magic. Let's record it. And yeah, we did. And here we are, a couple, 100 odd videos later, I think. I don't think we're quite at 200, but Anyway, I'm rambling again. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, time zones. See ya.